Hi again, Geometry. Mr. Lamb here, coming to you with, it looks like, the fourth section of the review. This is Unit 9, Complex Numbers. This is quite a bit shorter, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. A lot like the last video that you watched, simplifying radicals that have an I in them. Really what I do is, the first thing I do when I look at these is I take a look and I see that I have a negative 150. So I know this, an I is coming out. This is the same thing as I radical 150. So really, I just need to simplify radical 150 and make sure I have an I on the outside. So if you remember from our last video, we did that by going to y equals 150 divided by x, and this is squared. This is a square root, so I'll do x squared. And let's look at the table. And the table shows I can see a 1 radical 150. The next whole number down is a 6, so I have 5 radical 6. And then once I get down to 1, I know that there are no other simplifications that I can use. So I'm going to use the 5 and the 6. So 5 on the outside, so 5 in the I, and a 6 is on the inside. So 5i radical 6. Number 7, square root. So let's take a look at the same way I did in the last video. You'll notice I'm not doing a whole lot different. So m to the 4th, so I can take out m squared. N to the 8th, I can take out n to the 4, because 4 divided by 2 is 2, and 8 divided by 4 is 4. 8 divided by 2 is 4. And then the negative 294. So I know this, it's negative, so there's going to be an I that comes out. So I'm just going to think about this as the square root of 294. So y equals 294 divided by x squared. There we go. That looks better. 294 divided by x squared. Let's take a look at the table. As I look in that right column, I see a 6. So 7 radical 6. You can see 7 radical 6 right there in the middle of the screen. So this will reduce to 7 radical 6. So 7 is on the outside and 6 is on the inside. So my final answer is 7i m squared n to the 4th radical 6. Number 31. I'm going to distribute here. I'm going to do 3 times 6 is 18. And 3 times 4i is 12i. And then I'll distribute my negative 2 over here. Negative 2 times 7 is negative 14. And negative 2 times negative 11i is 22i. And just like any other algebra, I just combine like terms. Remember, leave your I terms second in your order that you'll put it in. So I have an 18 and a negative 14. Combine those to give you 4. And then I have 12i and 22i, and if I combine those, that would give me 34i. So 4 plus 34i. Number 32. I need to multiply these things together. Actually, let me go back here and take a look at number 31. I want to grab the calculator here. Hold on it. If I go to my mode, and I am in the a plus bi down there, that mode you'll see over here at a plus bi. Let's just see what happens if I do 3 and 6 plus 4. I is located by hitting second and the decimal point. And then minus 2. And 7 minus 11i. And I add those two things together, I can see I get 4 plus 34i. So just changing the mode on your calculator will allow you to do some of this stuff. So I'm going to take a look at number 32. I'm going to type this one right in. 5 minus 2i, and 3 plus 4i is 23 plus 14i. So 23 plus 14i. So this is 23 plus 14i. Again, if you needed to do that one out long ways, this would be a FOIL problem. So you would go through and FOIL this stuff out, remembering that I squared is equal to -1. And remember, I squared equals -1. For number 33 and 34, we're going to do both of these kind of at the same time. And this is what you have to remember. If you know this, you're going to be in really good shape. That I to the first, I to the 0 power is 1, because anything raised to the 0 power is 1. I to the first power is I. I to the second power is -1. And I to the third power is -I. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the exponent and I am going to divide it by 4, because I know that this cycles every 4. I'll divide this thing by 4, and I'm going to look at the remainder. If the remainder is nothing, so it comes out to a number like, I don't know, 18, then it is going to have a remainder of 0. The decimal point is a 0. If you get an answer of when you divide by 4, one of 4 things is going to happen. It will have no decimal. It will have 0.25, which is 1/4, which is going to act like I to the first. It'll be 0.50, which is 2/4, which is going to act like I squared. Or it's going to be 0.75, which is 3/4, so it's going to act like I to the third. So when I do these, it's as simple as this, really. I to the 46th, I will do 46 divided by 4. The answer is 11.5. If I think about 0.5 as a fraction, that is 2/4, which means I to the 46th acts like I to the second does. It's going to act exactly the same. And if I look at my table to the right over there, I squared is -1. I want to do I to the 93rd, 93 divided by 4 is 23.25. 0.25 is 1/4. So this acts like I to the 1, because that's 1/4 is the remainder. And I to the first we know is I. So that's a real easy way to do those. Number 35, some simplification here. So let's go ahead and let's multiply some stuff together. Actually, you know what? I think I can do this one right in the calculator. We have it set up in the right mode. So let's see what happens if we just type this right into the calculator. 7i, parentheses, 6 minus 9i, minus phi raised to the 5th, parentheses 5 minus I, minus the square root of -36. (62 plus 31i). So 62 plus 31, 31i. Now, if you had to do this out longhand, maybe you're not real good with the calculator, you would want to distribute this. You would want to distribute this. You would want to fix the square root of -36 to be 6i. You would want to simplify all your higher power i's into either an I or a 1 or a -I or a -1. And then you would want to combine like terms. But there's a real fast way. Like I said, the calculator can be your best friend in this thing. Number 36, solve using quadratic formula. This is in with complex numbers, so this means that this the solution here is probably going to have an I in it. So let's take a look. The opposite of B, A is 1, B is 2, C is 9. The opposite of B, plus or minus the square root of B squared, minus 4 times 1 times 9 is 36, all over 2a. When I do 4 minus 36, I'll get negative 2 plus or minus 4 minus 36 is negative 32, all over 2. The square root of negative 32, I know this, it's going to be an I. It's going to be something I. So let's grab the calculator. Square root of negative 32, the square root of negative 32. When I type it into the calculator, you'll notice it gives a real ugly decimal. That's because it's irrational. So let's just think about if I took the I out and I just said, you know what? Let's do 32 divided by x squared. And look, and I can see that it's 1 radical 32, 2 radical 8, 4 radical 2, so 4 radical 2 is the cleaned up version of that radical. And this does simplify because it is divided by 2. So negative 2 divided by 2 is negative 1. Plus or minus 4i divided by 2 is 2i. And a radical 2. That gets us through number 36 and also through Unit 9. Best of luck and keep studying.